I think the electric,
Okay, we're live stream.
the water and sewer is in. The electric, they brought the line to, I think, where they're gonna hang the transformer. I think, but I'm not sure.
So is your shed still wired to your house?
No, I cut it off a long time ago and I rewired it to where my RV is now.
It's their shed now, so.
Well, all I'd like them to do is to pull my 4 cables out, coil them up and give them to
back to you.
me. And I'll give them the 2 remote controls and the keys. 'Cause I'm not even connected to it anymore.
Yeah, I figured you were separating yourself.
That's a very big house for that lot. It's really
It
crowded
is.
back there.
I was surprised when I drove by and saw that they were squeezing into that tiny little space, because they had to sacrifice 2 pecan trees to get that in. And so-
Well, each day it's looking better because they're changing the colors, you know, they're making
Yeah,
it
it was
look.
a big black box
At
when I drove
first,
by
it was just overbearing, but
Yeah.
now that they got the white paint on, on the stucco, it's not so appealing, you know, it's not so gargantuan looking.
Mm-hmm.
But you know that black and white combinations like that really are popular now. You look around the
Yeah,
country,
that is really the trend, I've got to say.
seems to be a very popular trend.
My daughter just redid her kitchen and they went black and white. It's just-
You riding any motorbikes yet?
Motors, I don't ride motors, it's all bicycles.
All bicycles?
Human power, yes, sir.
No more motorized?
Don't have any motorized,
You
never
know,
did.
that's probably a real good decision
Well,
for your longevity.
My wife, when her freshman year of high school, hooked a ride with her neighbor and brother on a couple of Harleys and got T-boned at the intersection of I-10 and Wurzbach. And the first doctor that looked at her said, "You're gonna have to take the leg off." Fortunately, her dad said, "I want to get another opinion." He knew who to call. The guy said, "I can put it back together. Can't guarantee you'll ever use it, but I'll put it back together." And he carried her x-rays and her medical history around him and gave lectures for the next 20 years. Because she did just fine. But she's a better barometer than any weatherman I've ever met, but she can tell me 24 hours in advance
Oh,
of
yeah.
cold fronts.
Bet she feels it.
That's how I lost my access to money and credit card. I came home with a Harley and forgot to tell Colin I buying it.
Oh, boy. That would be a bad mistake.
But it
So-
was easier to get forgiveness than it would have been permission.
Get permission, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty much banned for life from motorcycles. You know, you can pretty much count on that.
Closest I ever came to that road was when I was about 35 years old. We had 2 children, and I bought a Honda 250 because we lived on a military reservation with 35 miles speed limit, and it was pretty safe to ride it on the base. But I could tell the minute I got out of the gate, they were trying to kill me. And I kept that thing just about a year, and I sold it. It was too dangerous.
I had a motorcycle before I bought that one that kind of set things off, but I mean, I couldn't turn the deal down.
Yeah.
I had taken it in for an oil change and maintenance. The guy told me, he said, "I'm finding iron filings in your oil." And that's not good.
No,
And I thought,
that's the beginning of the end.
right, I just went around the front, parked, and paid my bill, and was looking around, just seeing, thinking, okay, what am I gonna do? Do I wanna put a whole new engine or go to another bike? And anyway, and there was this one bike, it was sitting there, blue on blue, and they'd put a bunch of extra chrome and stuff. I mean, it was their show bike for the day, or week, or whatever. And he said, yeah. I said, "What you got? You got a trade?" And I took that thing out there, and he said, "Let me take it around back." And I go, "Oh, crap, that's good." They'll know. He came back, and he offered me about time and a half, 2 times what it's actually worth if the engine was good. I said, "Are you kidding?" He said, "No, I wouldn't do that." Okay.
It does,
So
it
that's
does
how I
that
ended
by
up with it.
itself.
How are y'all, gentlemen?
Wonderful. How are you, Todd?
Living the dream.
Good. Just be aware the microphones are hot and we're broadcasting.
Microphones are hot. Good to see you. I would have brought my coat in if it wouldn't be that we're inside. I got it out in the car. How are you, Jesse?
Pretty good. You're a dear guy. I need you to tell me what got after this.
What got after your deer? I don't know if
Okay, my son shot this
Yeah?
late not last night, but I mean right at late at at the end of the daylight.
Yeah.
And he said, well, he thought it went down, but he said, I'm gonna go eat supper and come back. And he
Yeah.
really found it. This was not done by something, this was old wound. That's the pecker, the balls were all gone, and all that stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Good to see you
That's
here.
crazy. How are you, man? Good to see you.
Hello.
How are you?
I don't make no sense of
You
that.
hanging in there?
Merry Christmas.
Those old wounds or fresh
They're
wounds?
old wounds, he said.
Wow. Man, I don't know. A horrendous fight. Yeah, but everything's missing.
Yeah, except that's hanging out.
Wow. Man, Jesse, I don't
I
know.
don't know, I don't think, maybe you got it hooked up on some coyotes get cornered or something, or?
Yeah, that would be my most likely answer. Oh, I shook your hand, Paul. Me and Jesse got to look into the picture.
Well, I'll take it twice either way.
What's the good word?
Well, Deborah told me I'm gonna have to preside on the meeting because she don't think the mayor's coming.
Huh.
Good.
She told me just came in and told me.
Christmas, feel better?
How are you? What's your name?
What's his name? Yeah.
Devin.
How are you doing?
Joe, how are you, sir? Everything good?
John?
You're gonna ask?
You know, haven't gotten into a bad coyote. Got surrounded and.
You know, dogs are that way. They go for the smelly parts first. So did you find any choices?
You know what?
And I heard the opposite. Everybody but a rumor in town, court rumors, you know. They're dragging their heels and the city's fighting tooth and nail. Not a good deal. Everything else good.
In the event it turns out to be true and I have to preside on the meeting, this is what I was gonna move, and I won't be able to move since I'm the presiding officer. If anybody else wants to move on it, that's their business. Somebody can hand one copy to the city secretary.
All right.
Hi there. I just figured I'd sit by you. Do I have to sit up there? Can I work from here? I was just visiting with John about it.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure, good thing you're bulletproof.
Good.
Were you involved in that chase through town?
Last week?
Yeah.
No, unfortunately. I've been in the chase a couple months. I'm ready.
My son was in Jukes, and they were standing on.
Oh, yeah? No, Ashley wasn't the county guys were.
Yeah, I heard about it. I worked with him. Yeah, then he said about 3 minutes later, some other cops, he said they're late to the party.
The last week I in the chase, not the last one I was in, before that, it was like 3:30ish. They were driving on the sidewalk on the race to get out, and we quit on it around Bipper. So he's like, hey, 10-20, you know, hey, 10-22, we're done. So I was turning around, and the game warden goes flying past me, running code, and I was like, game warden's on, can I get back? And she's like, no, you're done. Game warden's still in the chase.
Huh.
Good Lord, I bet that was the first chase.
His jurisdiction's a
Been in for a while.
little wider than yours.
Just a little bit, just a little bit. But we had that, we've been in a couple. We had that one that ended in Medina River West, that was a pretty good one. Where they wrecked out and then ran. That's fun.
It's fine with me.
That's what.
It just it makes no sense whatsoever.
But,
They might outrun your car, but they can't outrun your motor
and
road.
they could not run GPS helicopter either. And I was all cut up because we were running through the bushes. trying to get them. And,
Oh, and that's not the place you want to be running through bushes.
no, yeah, I got developed pretty good hands, so once we finished everything, I was already off duty, and it's like, I think I finished up like at 8 in the morning with the paperwork and all that stuff, and finished booking the guys in.
Your sleeves are
I
all
said, oh yeah, I went to my wife's office, I was like, hey, I'm not going to the hospital to get this cleaned up, so my wife's a nurse practitioner, I was like, I'm coming to your office. I just walked in, I was like, fix me, fix all the cuts.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I mean, I can show you my arms usually, just, and I'm taking my time.
Yeah.
I'm not in a hurry.
Yeah, it was thick up there.
Yeah,
It was-
oh, I know, nowhere out there is not thick. I mean, you cut every step if you're trying to work out there, and I've
Yeah.
done it many times.
We're running, I was like, bad guys eat snakes, where are snakes and bad guys? I was like, because I hate snakes.
Fortunately, if you're making enough noise, the snakes will get out of your
They'll
way.
spook out. Yeah.
I don't know, I thought that too, but then I stepped on one.
Did you?
Coiled up rattlesnake.
Really?
Sleeping,
The only reason I realized is I felt it.
I'm well.
I felt him wiggling. Actually, I was bending down to pick up a rock, big rock. I looked over and he was under me. If he had me, I'd probably got hit in the head or something. I was out at the ranch then, so it would have been a serious situation.
Yeah.
We didn't have cell phones then.
Anytime I go west, we all these snakes. Because like we'll go hunt down at Bracken.
I wrote down that citizen's house.
I've been known to go out
Just kind of, you read this off, you don't necessarily
in
add to it.
shorts and snake boots.
This is where I put it.
Last time I ran,
That's the only thing I've thought that I can think of.
Well, what
is
you're
we don't
gonna
want
do
to
is,
test out.
Yeah, I don't want to.
last time I ran into a rattlesnake, I was just west of Rio Medina, so you don't have to go that far.
Well, I saw one in the park this summertime.
Oh, really?
Someone has run over here that
Yeah, well, generally they won't bother you if things are, you're not rushing or you don't push them or nothing, because they don't want to get into it any more than you do.
Right.
But they will do if they think they're
Yeah.
threatening.
Right after the
Well, we had
roll.
that fellow that broke his leg.
Right after the roll.
We had to litter carry him down. It was like a mile up on the trail. And then so we were walking, I felt bad, I was sweating on the gun, like I'm really sorry, and dripping all over, but I was like, almost as big as snakes.
How are you, sir? Good, how are you? Good to see you. Excellent. Uh-oh. No?
No, this is a prospect.
Oh. Hi there, Leroy, how are you? Good to see you.
Waiting on Miss Martinez. Where's the heck is she?
Hi there, Chief. How are you? I'm doing excellent. How about yourself? Oh, very good. How we doing? No pledge of allegiance or any of that
No,
stuff?
we don't have to do that.
If y'all want me to start putting that on special call meetings, I can.
Okay.
Only if we have to.
No, I mean, it's up to y'all.
You know where the word fairly There's a couple of different grades and stuff.
Maybe that's citizens' comments I was thinking of.
I did not know that.
From Burley, I do not get on there, but they can still call me.
Hey, it all comes
I
from
think it's
somewhere.
by, and he's gonna announce it.
That's also, you know.
Okay, it's 5 PM, and we'll call this specially called city council meeting to order. First item is roll call, and the mayor is absent, so I'll be acting as the presiding officer in her place, since I'm the mayor pro tem, and Ms. Martinez is absent. Okay. Now, because the law was recently changed and there's a statutory requirement to allow citizens' comments, and we inadvertently left it off the agenda, we'll entertain any citizen that would like to speak at this time, even though it's not on the agenda. No one wishes to speak. Okay, so we'll close that at 2 minutes after 5. And we'll move on to item number 3. Item number 3 is discussion and take action regarding the requirements of city officials to comply with the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Article 6, Records Management, and Chapter 203, Subchapter B of the Texas Local Government Code. And under that discussion, there are going to be two topics. Topic number one will be council directive regarding the return of all city records in existing format. And topic number two will be receive all files being returned to the city administrator / records retention officer. So with that, we'll open discussion and we'll start with Mr. Shearhart on topic one. The topic is regarding the return of all records, which is why we called this meeting.
Has that not happened yet?
We can ask. Would you
Just
like to
about,
ask?
we're about probably maybe like 95% return. She's doing it now. She just finished at this moment in time. There's a few that she needs to return to me, but for the most part, about 95% of files have been returned. So,
Okay.
There's still a need for us to do something.
correct. Yes, sir.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Mr. Byers?
And everything's pretty clear to me and cut and dried. I don't really have a whole lot of questions. I don't have any questions and really no comment.
Okay. Mr. Carey?
We had on November 4th a very well-presented and clear presentation on the need and the processes of record retention in this very chamber, and the mayor was present. It outlined clearly who was in charge of the records and what the procedures were if you wanted to view records or acquire records. And I pulled a couple documents from state records and found a record retention schedule. I think it's about 65 pages long, listing all of the different records that are subject to one type of retention or another, all of which are officially under the authority of our record retention officer, which is our secretary, Deborah Howe. I don't see that there is or was or should have been any question as to how anyone would go about acquiring these records. There should have been no question. There should have been no doubt. There is under Local Government Code Title 6, Subtitle C, Chapter 201, Section 201.008, under penalty, destruction or alienation of records. An officer or employee of a local government commits an offense if that officer or employee knowingly or intentionally violates the subtitle or rules adopted under it by destroying or alienating a local record in contravention of this subtitle, or by intentionally failing to deliver records to a successor in office as provided in subsection 201.006A. An offense under this subsection is a Class A misdemeanor. Doesn't take much to look up Class A misdemeanor. It's eligible for up to 1 year in jail. This is not a minor thing. There is some evidence that there are other records which were removed from this building which we have not and maybe cannot recover. I think that's very serious. And I would say that we need to have an investigation.
Into the records to try to
Into-
ascertain what's missing?
I don't know if we can do that. I mean, we have an inventory. Deborah, you have a service that documents the record retention. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's RCI, and they come in, I have them come in every 2 years, and they categorize everything, put the dates on it for destruction, if they are. Some of it's permanent, and we do have a listing of that. The current information that's up there ready for this type of service, they do not know of yet, because, like I said, it would be a 2-year.
A 2-year cycle. So we don't know of anything since the last inventory what might not be there.
Correct.
So
At this
that would be
time.
very difficult to investigate.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately.
I still think there's a very serious issue, a complete disregard for our rules, regulations for state law, for the duties and liabilities and responsibilities of our retention officer. Okay, that's all I've got to say.
Okay. As a District 5 councilman, I've got some strong feelings on this, and I'd like to, just to summarize, for those of you that may not have been at the last meeting, I'm the one who made the motion to put this on the agenda for tonight, and I feel very strongly, based on what we learned at the last meeting, that the fact that our city administrator, for one, and possibly others, are being deprived of their ability to do their job because they didn't have the records that belong to them. And I think we gave the mayor an opportunity, if she wanted to, after the last meeting, to return them, and it's apparent now that she may have taken an effort to return some, for which we would certainly give her credit, but it appears that they have not all been returned. And so I think this meeting is important. This is a very serious issue, and we need to get it resolved in a timely manner. So everybody's had an opportunity to discuss it. There seems to be consensus we have an issue. So I would like to open the floor to anybody who would like to make any motions in terms of how do we get corrective action.
I'd like to ask a question. And as Councilman Carey had mentioned possibility of an investigation, who would do that investigation? Would it be a county? Would it be Texas Rangers? Who would normally do that?
It's a good question. I have to defer that to city attorney.
So normally, what we would recommend is that there be an in-house investigation first. Of course, as the city attorneys, because we represent the city and the board, the council, collectively, we would not conduct that investigation. However, we can assist with any referrals, for someone to come in and do that if the current service was that y'all have wasn't able to assist you with that. It may be something under your current services or current contract that they can provide y'all some assistance and guidance with that before going to the next step of hiring someone to come in and do an in-house investigation. Thereafter, in any manner that the investigation occurs, council, we would recommend that y'all receive the results of that in a closed session meeting. And then at that particular point in time, we would, provide legal advice as to, how to proceed with that information. Depending on the results of that investigation, would basically dictate, what the decision tree would be thereafter for the council.
Okay. Thank you. Chief, I saw you put your hand up.
Say in a case like this, we wouldn't get involved, it would be the Rangers, have transparency, and another agency to do this for you.
So your office would be the office that would basically oversee?
We would pass it on, we'd ask the Rangers to do the investigation.
Okay. Did that satisfy
my
your
question? Yes.
Okay, now we've opened for discussion again, so we'll go around and give everyone another opportunity. Is there any other things you'd like to discuss before we move to some motions? Any motion?
No, I don't believe so.
Mr. Carey?
Nothing else.
Okay. Anyone like to make any motions? What we do from here? Okay.
I move that the city council direct the mayor to immediately return to the administrator all files she took from the administrator's office or any other city file location, storage location, including all of Mr. Lee Elliott's personal notes, files, administrative files, historic files, study reports, cost analyses, plans, maps, charts, or any other type of file.
I second the motion.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion or the second before we take a vote? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed to the motion say nay. I hear 4 ayes and no nays. The motion carries. Okay. So we've we've used the word immediately in the motion and in what we passed. So I'd ask the city administrator you're the only person, you and the city secretary are the only two people who are going to be in a position to be able to tell us if the mayor complies with the directive that we just passed. So what I would like to do is discuss, I have to ask the lawyer first, can we put an item on the next agenda, the next regular scheduled meeting, to discuss and close this out, get a report back from the city administrator and the city secretary?
Yes, sir. As part of your action item number 2, you can, issue that directive that the responsible city administrator and the city secretary provide you with that documentation.
Okay. Any discussion of that before we pass the city administrator? Okay with that? Okay, so Mr. Bardalis, we'd ask you in concert with the city secretary to please give us a report on the next regularly scheduled meeting as to the completeness of the files that you received back, and give us some good, warm, and fuzzy feeling that we've resolved the problem.
Yes, sir.
And we'll do that at the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, is there any other discussion of items 1 or item 2?
I'd like to also, if you feel you're missing items, I'd like you to be able to tell us what items those are that you feel like you're missing.
Yes, sir, will do. Thank you.
Okay? Okay. If there's no further discussion on item number 3 on the agenda, we'll move to item number 4. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yes.
All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. The meeting will be adjourned at 5:15 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you all of y'all so much. Y'all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Well, thankfully, I didn't have to come in on a stretcher like you were thinking.
I'm thinking the same thing. But I got 3 more pills out of the 10 you gave me, so I'm good for 3 more days.
You're looking at me.